Well, hey there, rock stars. Sarah Rockin' Robbins here, coming to you live for another prospecting tip of the day. I'm so excited to be with you all. Before we get started, let's go ahead and get acquainted. If you wouldn't mind sharing in the comments below who you are and where you're tuning in from. And if it is your first time watching, make sure that you type in a number 1, whether you're listening by live or by replay. I would love to warmly welcome you. Don't forget, you can share this on your team pages or via inbox or tag your team below. Make sure you get this message out to your rock stars because, as you know, the more who knows, the greater your team will grow. Now, since we have so many new people coming in each and every week, I just do a quick introduction of myself. As you guys know, who am I? I am Sarah Robbins. I'm a former kindergarten teacher turned network marketing top leader. I went on to share all of my tips for how I built a billion-dollar business in the profession, a billion-dollar sales team just in 1 year. In the book, Rock Your Network Marketing Business, it's a bestseller on Amazon, but you can get it at bulk pricing for your team members at sarahrobbins.com. I also created the CD series, and or I should now say audio series because it's CD or MP3. The Rockstar Recruiting School, which is my entire system for network marketing success. If you love my trainings, you're going to love these series. And a leadership training, the Masterclass edition. You can get them at a really great discount when you purchase them as a pack on my site at sarahrobbins.com. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today for another free prospecting tip of the day. This is what I'm really excited about. Before I share it with you, I would love your permission to just make a special invitation to this awesome group of rock stars. So as you guys might know, on September 19th, we're doing a really awesome sales summit. You can register at sarahrobbins.com. It is going to be an online training. If you've purchased any of my trainings before, any of my webinars, you know that is jam-packed full of great value, great ideas, awesome scripts and language, guaranteed to help you rock your network marketing business. If you can't be there live, there's going to be a replay on demand, so register anyways. It's good for every company, every team, and I do hope to have you guys there. Now, this has never been seen before training, so if you've purchased a recruiting webinar, which is on my website, or if you purchased our social media webinar, this is totally different. This is specifically focused on how I built a billion-dollar sales team. We did that amount of sales just in 1 year, but really how we've built a strong, sustainable sales organization, and I'm going to teach you the same. My best practices for you, if you're brand new and starting, they're going to be applicable for you. Or if you're a leader wanting to build a long-term sustainable organization, there's definitely something in this webinar for everybody. So if you've registered, shout out below. And I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to share that with you. All right, guys, now for today's training. I'm super excited. We're going to be talking about trade shows because 'tis the season. When I started my business, many of you know my story. It took me 3 months to recruit my first consultant. I've now gone on to recruit over 300 personally, but I had no network. I was shy, I was young, I was broke. My network was young and broke like me. So I really hustled and I built, and I talk a lot about how I did that in my recruiting webinar. But, I really was looking for creative and innovative ideas to get out of my house and to go where the people are. When people are like, where do I find people? I'm like, you're surrounded by people. The question is if you're willing to, get out of your house, go where the people are. Your willing to has to be greater than your wanting to. So in the beginning phases, one of the techniques of many in terms of recruiting and prospecting and finding new customers and consultants, one of the things that I did was I invested in trade shows. So fall is really the perfect time because now that kids are back to school, many schools and churches will be doing these trade shows or these events where you can purchase a booth during the fall season, and definitely so many through churches and schools that go throughout the holiday season as well. And oftentimes registration begins, now in September, as we're nearing the month of September. Can you guys believe that? Registration begins very, very soon. So here's the thing I wanted to share with you. Quick tip. At some point, I invested in one of those really big women's events, and that cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And here's the thing I'm going to just share with that. I look at it as if I can make a quick return on investment, great. It's totally worth my time because then really, for the booths that were like $100, I was like, I could sell, one of my products or a couple of my products, find a couple customers. Surely I can do that. I can make my money back. Then it's really just an investment of time. Now, those events that cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, guys, I just want to caution you this. There's several different ways to do it. Is either A, go and just be a guest and go make friends with some of the vendors, like bring your samples, bring your cards, go to those events for free, or a $10 ticket to be a guest and network versus setting up a booth. But if you really feel convicted to have a booth, what my team and I used to do was we'd just take shifts and we'd all split the cost. So let's say that you find 10 girls to work the event with, or 10 guys to work the event with. You divide that right by $1,000 and it costs you $100. Then you can say, okay, I can justify doing this. But I personally do not recommend spending thousands of dollars by yourself, because it's really hard to get a return on that investment. That's just my personal opinion, okay? So I would go and I would look and I would say, okay, what school or church is hosting an event? I would go on Craigslist, on Event Lister. I would, just search, the local news and go to see what kind of events I could do, and basically, go and invest $100 or a couple $100 and say, okay, how can I quickly earn my return on investment? So these events actually have been very successful for us. They've yielded some of our top leaders, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, but I'm going to give you some tips pre-event, post-event, and then during the event too, that is guaranteed to help you to rock your network marketing business leveraging these types of events. So let's first talk pre and post event. So some important tips to help you to have a successful event if you choose to do trade shows during the season. First and foremost, I want you to be thinking about all of the vendors. And by vendors, I mean all of the people that are there and they're setting up tables. Many of them, most of them, right? They're entrepreneurs. They're there to build their business too. So I was looking, I'm like, I am in the most incredible company, right? Other people who are entrepreneurial, who are, ambitious and who have invested and who want to build a successful business. So I would go and I would basically bring my business cards and I would bring my samples and I would go early and I would make friends with all of the vendors. I would go, hey, Stacy. I would go and I would, just make friends with them and check out their stuff. Doesn't mean you had to buy it, but I'd look at it and, write this down, tiny, their interest, not yours. I would be genuinely interested in them and what they do. And I would go and make friends and show interest and introduce myself and basically, just make friends. Okay, now post-event. So I was always there first. I was there first to set up so I can go and make friends. But post-event, I was always the last to leave, because then I would always follow up. And as people were tearing down, I'd leave my stuff. And I would go and then bring my business cards and my samples, and I would just share how much I loved meeting them and how I would love to follow up and stay in touch. Give people a sample, tell them if they promise they'll use it, I promise that I'll follow up, I'll stay in touch. Let's exchange information, or better yet, $1 million tip, are you on Facebook? And then this way we connect so I can share our product and opportunity, but also see how we can cross-network, help one another to build each other's business post-event. Now, here's the thing. Again, many of them are entrepreneurial, but many of them have been involved in direct sales or know somebody who's in direct sales, because think about it. At those events, you're surrounded by people who are also in some sort of direct selling. So those vendors, that's your gold. That's your gold mine. So go early, be the first to be there, network, build relationships, be the last to leave, pass out samples and business cards. The goal is to connect later to talk about how you can help one another, right? Because it can't be a one-sided relationship, but then trusting that when you sit down for that chat and you say, tell me more about you and your business and how I can help, they're going to say the same to you. And now you have a captive audience. You can tell them your story. You can share your why. You can share what you're looking for. And they might identify themselves as being interested. And if not, they might give you some really great referrals or be an incredible customer too. So that's pre and post event. Now let's talk about some tips to really leverage and to make it a successful event. What should you focus on during the event? Okay, so first and foremost, never sit behind the table. If you're sitting behind the table, that just shows that you're not open, and really it doesn't create for a welcoming environment. So the very first thing that I do when I set up an event, I take the table and I push it all the way back toward the back of the wall, so behind me, right? And let's say that my chair is the table. I go and I stand in front of the table. And on the table is my display. I'll have a display of all my products. I have order forms printed off. And this is $1 million tip for you. I used to freelance for my company prior to it being in direct sales. And when I was a freelancer for these different skincare and cosmetic companies, these big brands would teach us how to pull people. Basically, it's like the girl who's trying to get you to try the perfume or to come to the cosmetic counter, right? And if you're nice, you'll just stop and take their thing and smell it even if you don't like it, right? Okay, I was one of those girls. Just be nice, guys. Don't be mean. It's their job. So they taught us how to pull people, because you can't expect that people are going to come in, especially if they don't know the value behind what you're offering. Your business is your priority. It's not theirs. So I always do some sort of a drawing of something fun and attractive for our company that everybody would be interested in. So you have to think about, what does that look like for you? And if it's a service-based company, guys, I've seen realtors that set up booths at events. Like we just went to a summer street fair. There was realtors set up and they were doing like drawings for gift cards. It doesn't have to be a product if you're in a service-based business. Thank you, Lee, for sharing with your team. I appreciate that. So always have a drawing. So what's the point? What's the purpose? That's how you pull people. So for example, let's say that Lee's walking by my booth, and again, I've got it all set up behind me. It's against the wall. So I've created an open and welcoming space, like a U shape, that people can come in and walk into my booth. And I've got everything set up. It looks stunning, right? And I would say to Lee, now I don't know her name at this point, but I would say, excuse me, ma'am, have you heard of X, Y, and Z company before? We're raffling an incredible gift, no purchase necessary. I would love to have you come in and, enter to win. And I, kind of, if I can, make some sort of physical contact, touch her hand, touch her, shoulder, whatever, and say, come on in, come check out what we've got to offer. I'd love for you to enter to win. And immediately I'm going to give her a raffle form. Now think about this. You're creating a leads list, okay? So I want you to have all elements on the form that you need in order to follow up with them, right? So she's filling out her name, her email address, her phone number. She's on Facebook, maybe her Facebook name, whatever. Thank you, Brenda, for sharing. So she's filling all that information out. Now I have a lead. I have somebody that I can follow up with. Sometimes I leave these events, guys, and I have hundreds of leads, hundreds of people that I can follow up with. Okay, so the purpose is to have that drawing is to get people in. Now, legitimately, I'm going to, of course, raffle off that prize to people, but now I also have a leads list too. Now, here's the thing. Don't leave it at that. Don't you dare let them leave the booth. So we're not holding people hostage, right? No, I'm just being silly. But here's what we're seriously going to do. After she fills out the form, what I'm going to say is, I would love to do, a personalized recommendation for you. Now, I'm in skincare, so I would say, hey, if you could change one thing about your skin, what would it be and why? If you could wave a magic wand, change one thing about your skin, what would it be and why? Now, you might be in health, and you might say, if you could change one thing about your health, what would it be and why? So that's my way basically to now start engaging them in our product and in what we do. And I'm going to turn around and make a quick recommendation and say, what's your name? Okay, Brenda. Brenda, what I recommend is our acne regimen to you. Let me show it to you. Come on over. Now I've engaged her into the booth. I've engaged her into what I do. And this can be where I tell her more about the product. I can demo the product. I can give really great, information and advice to her. And here's the thing. Before I drop her form into the bucket, when Brenda goes and she walks away from the table and I tell her, hey, thanks so much, I'll be in touch, I'm going to write on the form, Brenda would be a good candidate for our acne regimen, okay? And then this way I know when I follow up with her, what we're going to be discussing. Hey, Brenda, it was great meeting you earlier at the event. Thank you, Camille, for sharing. Great meeting you earlier at the event. I know I had recommended our acne regimen to you. I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about it and share with you a little special that I'm offering to people, just to people who attended the event and stopped by our booth. While you didn't win the raffle, and maybe she did, but if she didn't, while you didn't win the raffle, I do have another opportunity, or I do have another offer for you. So guys, the key is in all of this is to remember always the fortune is in the follow-up. You have to follow up on those leads. So again, you've got all of the vendors, right? You have all of those people that you went early and you talked to and you stayed late and you gave them samples and you exchanged information. Now you have a bucket full, literally a box full of people to follow up with, to tell about the product, and of course to share your opportunity with as well. I look and I said, hey, if I sold a couple skincare regimens, I paid my price at the booth, I'm good. But now think about if those people order for the long term, or people join your team and they build for the long term as well. I mean, it's really powerful stuff, guys. So powerful that one of the very top leaders in our entire company came from a sample that was shared to her at a vendor event, at a trade show. It's so powerful. So again, if you can't afford to do it, look for some smaller ones. You can't even afford to do that, buy a $10 ticket and go to the show, bring your samples, network with some of those vendors and some attendees. And I hope it will really help you to rock your network marketing business. Guys, if you liked today's tip, I hope you did. Give me some hearts, give me some love, share your thoughts and your takeaways. If you loved that, you're going to absolutely be in love with September 19th Selling for Direct Selling Summit. It's called Supersize Your Sales. I've never done a training like this before. As you can tell, these are fresh new tips that I'm giving you every day. I've been working so hard on it. I was up late working on it last night, and I am so excited to share this with you. I mean, this is stuff that I'm pulling really, as you can tell, out of my archives from like 10 years ago. It's so powerful. And so it's going to be really good, full of great value for you. If you've not yet registered, do it today before we sell out at sarahrobbins.com. It's called Supersize Your Sales. Shout out below when you're registered, or if you intend to register, because I would love to say thank you to you guys. But we're going to cover how I built a $1 billion sales team in 1 year, our team, how we did that. And guys, it's going to be phenomenal. If you loved this idea, it's jam-packed full of tons of ideas like this, but we're going to do scripts and language and so much more. I do hope you guys will join me. If you can't make it live, there's going to be a great replay on demand. And it's for all companies. We're going to talk products and services. We've been talking about just like this. While you're there, you can pick up our recruiting webinar too if you want to build a balanced business of recruiting and selling. And there's also social media one too if you want to know how to do all of this online. But did you guys love today's free tip? I hope I see you guys on September 19th, because it's going to be too good for you guys to miss. Kids are back to school, time to get back to building a bigger business. And I tell you what, you have to ask yourself this question: what is your why worth? What is your why worth? So who am I going to see on September 19th? All right, I hope to see you guys there, if not sooner, like tomorrow here on this page for another free prospecting tip of the day. Did this bless your business? I hope so. I hope it helps to rock your network marketing business. Remember, share this with your teams or tag them below. I hope it helps you guys. Have a great day, guys. God bless. Goodbye for now. Rock on, rock stars. I'll post that link below.